The morning after 40th anniversary, guys. I got all the cards laid out. This is what I pulled last night. I just ordered the one box. Did happen to pull a plate of all things. Here it is. Notice it's all dressed up in protective stuff. Now that I found out it's worth something, as we do. Guys, I just want to make a few little comments about this release, just my thoughts about it, especially since I opened this last night, and I usually feel a little bit different the next day, naturally. I've slept on it, as we say, right? Anyway, I put these in order, number order. Notice I don't have much to look at because these boxes only have 40 cards in them. And so it's going to be very slim pickings for most people unless you're buying a case of these things. Though I have talked to several people who bought a case and have opened their case. And these people, they don't even have a full set. So it's crazy how much money this is going to cost. So just some thoughts about this release, what I think is going on with Topps. Some contradictions I have some notes over here I'm reading from. So my first impression of this set, this is my base impression, is wow, it's so safe. I can't believe Topps went this safe with this set. This would have been a great opportunity since this is an online set, mind you. Meaning they didn't have to have pressure at the retail level, they didn't have to have good Walmart sales or Target sales or whatever sales. This was an online release from their company. They're getting 100% of the money, right? There's no middleman, right, with this release, you know what I'm saying? What a perfect opportunity to do what we wanted. And we all know what we want. Even if you don't know what you want, I'll tell you what we want. We want this. We want Topps, especially after 40 years, to make just a wax pack. They can do it. Listen, there's customizers. I've made these myself. It's the easiest thing. All they had to do is make a wax pack. That's what we all wanted. Even though if you didn't know that's what you wanted, it is. I'll tell you right now. And the gum inside would come in a cellophane. It would be wrapped. That they still do this with trading cards. Not with a lot of the main ones, but you can find them out there. There's people that still do this. And they put bubble gum in them, so they still do that in some releases. But they're wrapped in cellophane now, so they don't bleed on the cards. It's no big deal. And if you notice, how many stickers came in this? 5. How many came in their release? 5. All they had to do to make us happy, to make us just go absolutely wild, is to just go back and make a wax pack for us. Could they just once, on an anniversary that we've been waiting for our entire adult life, just make us some wax packs? And the price of this thing is the most ridiculous inflated thing I've about ever seen in card collecting. I know there's sports cards people, and I collect sports cards too, that, they'll instantly go, well, we'll think about Prism, for example. Yeah, I know, but with non-sport stickers, really, 40 cards for what equates to about $95, it's so out of hand, and it's so rude, and so a lot of things. And especially considering they didn't make us the wax packs that we wanted, and they never will. This was probably their last chance to do that. So a couple of thoughts here. I got the cards laid out. Obviously, they're all reprints. These are all cards we have in our collections already, right? We have the originals, and so they've reprinted them for the 4th time. Okay, not everyone 4th time, but most of them. So we had flashback series. So these cards have been flashbacked. They've been chromed. They've been sapphired. And now they've been anniversaried, whatever you want to call this. So, and Each time they've taken a John Pound, for example. Notice, by the way, most of these are John Pounds, except for I believe there's only one bunk in my particular set here, and there's a Simcoe. I do need to talk about him. Let me put him to the side. I have a point to make about this. Anyway, so they're taking basically John Pounds, and they're redressing it over and over and over, trying to rebrand it. So what does that say about Tops? What's that say about this, brand and the direction we're going? Well, it's not going anywhere. We're going into it's a circling. We're cycling, right? It's a recycling, however you want to put it in your mind. Now, speaking of this card, this is what I had more in mind for 40th anniversary. So now, an artist friend of mine who is one of the 4 artists told me last night that this was supposed to be a completely different set. The artists, the 4 artists, they had a concept for 40th that was not this, obviously. Because if you think about it, how are the 4 artists, let me just name them, Engstrom, Simcoe, McWilliams, and Gross, right? They're not making money off this, are they? These are not their designs, except this one Simcoe that I found. And maybe there's some other mixed in, but I just don't have them. Whatever. What I'm saying is these are not original. They were not employing these 4 artists that we're used to. So Tops went with reprints. Why? We don't quite know. Anyway, back to this. So I do want to make a point about this one. This is more in line with what I would think a 40th anniversary would be. So you would take an old Pound character, take an old character and think about what would they look like 40 years later. So I think even though this isn't the greatest idea in the world, I think it's more in line with what I would expect with a 40th anniversary is where are they now? Where is Vile Cal now? Well, he's not riding on his motorcycle. He's going down a Walmart aisle or whatever in one of those little store scooters. So they could have done that. Drew Blood could be a boxing promoter now, rich. He would still have some scars on his face. You just take any one of these and reimagine it. But that's not what we got. We didn't get that creativity. We didn't get any risk. There is 0 risk. Okay. Now these are just going to keep falling. Let me just move them. So I did say last night my favorite part of this set, I think it still stands, is, now I'm an advertising guy. I collect candy advertising. But I think the wrappers are the best bet. I think the advertising is probably the best bet. The boxes do pretty much sell themselves. Before I forget, let me talk about this now. So the box, I'm sorry, the design of the box. So here we have Atom Bomb. Again, safety first, right? It seems like Tops is safety first. They are a business. I mean, I guess they could not risk putting Patty Putty on there, whatever. But anyway, so he's got the party theme going on. But then to me, this is a big contradiction. Do you see a contradiction on this box anywhere? The worst. If you were to remove this, there is almost no gag. There's almost no edge at all to it. Now, I guess he is blowing up his head, but dude, we've seen Atom Bomb our whole life. It's almost lost its edge there. But anyway, it says the worst. So if you're kind of meditating on this concept, the worst of Garbage Pail Kids, it does say that. Do you see that? Who wrote this? Tops wrote that. The worst of Garbage Pail Kids. Okay, so to me, there's a big conceptual problem with this whole series. The worst of Garbage Pail Kids, 40th anniversary. But anyway, so if you look at the cards, are these the worst of Garbage Pail Kids? I see a ton of B, C side characters, D level characters even. Where's Madonna at? You know, obviously. Where's Art Apart? I'm sure he's in there somewhere. So what I'm not seeing is a lot of the best ones, right? So I'm not sure if that's what they're going for. The point is, I don't think they do either. And so when you look at these cards, you know, these could be some cards that maybe they thought were underrepresented, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, the first thing you see is it says the worst of Garbage Pail Kids. Then we're supposed to pair that concept with a image, not the first one we've ever seen, by the way, an image of Atom Bomb in a party. When's the last time we saw that? We actually saw it in All New Series 4, which is, I think, 20 years ago. And he's coming out of a birthday cake, and it's a way better design than this. And it also doesn't say the worst on it. So it kind of leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth. I do think we need to talk about this as a community. I'm talking about my group. Why did Topps write this? I think it's time we confront this company. I always have tried to do this. No one seems interested. You know, most people, they're just consumers, you know. They work all day. I get it. You're tired. You don't have time for this. Maybe a little too late in the game. But still, I do think we should have a serious discussion about what's going on here. The worst of Garbage Pail Kids. I think there's a problem with this concept. And so when you look back at this set and you see all these reprints, and it just feels like we're running in place, right? We're running in place. Just like this fucking discussion. I can't even talk about this shit because there's nothing to talk about. I'm talking in circles because look at what I'm trying to discuss. And I think Topps is too. I do want to point out a few more things. I have some notes down here. The banners. So there was a discussion, I believe it was 4 years ago actually, where some people were thinking, I was too, we were thinking that the statute of limitations on the Topps court case where they changed the banners from curved to straight, we thought it was out. Because there had been some cards over, I don't know, the last 8 years or whatever, that were curve style. And it seemed like they were bringing back Cabbage Patch faces. And it seemed like they could start using that curved banner again. But if you look at the 40th anniversary, they're all straight banners, right? Sorry, my phone's blurry there. They're all straight banners, and again, sorry for the visuals. There's just nothing here to look at per se, but anyway, they're all straight banners. And so when you're going through the packs, I'll just tell you firsthand, like last night going through the packs, really the almost the little bit of pleasure I got from opening this was coming up to a card like this. You know, the 4-in-1s were cool. They felt pretty good to open. I felt nothing pulling the color borders because there's nothing different but the color border. I know everyone bitches about the parallels. This is a money-making concept that was brought in during Flashback 1 and has never gone away. And it's across all sports cards and all cards. This is just something that I guess is something we're going to have to accept forever. And even for the 40th anniversary, they couldn't just for once on an online anniversary set just stop the fucking bullshit with the cash grab parallel bullshit and just do something that's a true throwback anniversary, something like a pack of cards. I did notice that these are made in Mexico. Let me just show you that. So that's really interesting. I don't know how long this has been going on. I could simply look through my old packs, I guess. I'd rather not, to be honest. But these are made in Mexico. I was reading on the packs as well. It does say made in Mexico, so that's interesting. I don't know why. I don't know the quality of these. I feel like could be better. I'm not saying that that's because they're made in Mexico, but at all. But I'm just saying, you know, I think a lot of people, when they pulled these out of the pack last night, a lot of people noticed, look at this. Like, they're very flimsy. They look like they're chrome, guys. These are not chrome, okay? They're missing. You can see the pebbly texture on top. These are not that smooth, scratchable surfaces like chrome at all. In fact, none of mine have scratches at all. Some people were cringing when I was handling them last night. I've been handling cards since I was in grade school. These corners are perfect. You know, corners, by the way, I'm getting in some random tangents. Corners, by the way, are most in danger when you're doing this kind of stuff and you're doing that. That's when corners are in danger. They're not in danger when you're doing this. And when you're picking them up by the stack and you're not touching corners, there's no, what corner is in danger? Dude, there's no corner problems here. Anyway, so a couple more things I have on this. So what is Topps telling us here with this release? Well, they're telling us, you know, again, they're not going to be taking many risk. We see that they're getting out of the retail game. You know, the sets are becoming online only. There's no prospect of them ever going back to retail, meaning kids are out, right? There's no kids that are going to be seeing these anymore. They weren't looking at them anyway. That's probably why they took them out of Walmart, to be honest. You know, no kids are collecting garbage pail because I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, there's no Firestorm online. They collect Pokemon cards and shit like such as that. But now it's completely out of retail and they're online. But again, what a perfect opportunity for an online exclusive 40-year anniversary to just give us a damn pack, man. Just something. I mean, you had it right with the 5 cards per pack. You even had the throwback characters. I mean, there's Adam Bomb in here, man. I mean, even if they, I guess, went with this or something and put bubblegum in there, just something to just say thanks to the fans, right? Instead, we get something it has a built-in structure for you to like go crazy about green borders and blue borders and all this stuff that it just, I guess it's never going away. So yeah, man, that's just kind of my thoughts about it. Honestly, this morning I feel worse about this series. It was pretty fun opening them in the moment, but then when it was over with, you know, dude, I don't know. Even if this had been, I don't know, some great sketch, maybe by Lil Isaac, for example. He's like actually a good sketch card artist. That would, I guess, been a little bit better, but there's nothing here, man. It's just a bunch of reprints. And I did not personally pull any of the Atom Bombs. I did see some of those by some other people. Those look pretty cool. Still, I'm not sure if that would have really rocked my world. So anyway, so guys, what do you think? So I don't know about you, but when 45 comes along, I guess in 5 years they'll do a 45th anniversary. I'll be a senior citizen. I'll be 55 years old. So I'm wondering if they'll give us senior discounts on these, because I don't want to be paying. God, I bet in 5 years this will be $120 for a box or something, which basically amounts to a blaster, by the way. So it's just crazy, man. I just don't see a lot of hope for the future. It seems like Topps is kind of getting away from taking any risk. And so what does that mean? I don't know. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed this and just gave you something to think about. And yeah, I'll see you around. I'll be looking for this card. It's pretty cool. I might be getting a little exaggerated with this card. I mean, it's really cool, but it's not like the greatest thing ever. But Yeah, I'll definitely collect that, you know. Maybe pick up a few atoms, but as far as this other stuff, I'm not really sure what to tell you. Because it's just reprints, right? All right, very good. Well, I hope we're all alive and around when 45th comes and 50th of all things. But if history has proved itself or will prove itself, it's just going to be more of this kind of stuff, just a regurgitation of old pound characters, right? Oh, by the way, is Pound making any royalties off this stuff? I mean, just think, he's the real loser of this story. The real loser of Garbage Pail Kids, the story of Garbage Pail Kids, is John Pound, because he's the one, he built this shit. He created the entire aesthetic almost by himself, and they're still reprinting his cards constantly. And I don't think Topps is paying him royalties for, you know, is John Pound getting a royalty for Odd Todd every time they print Odd Todd? And we have all these sketch card people who sit up all night drawing these John Pound pictures, and I don't think he gets a dime from it. And I don't know about you, or I don't know his financial situation, but I don't think John Pound's rich. And if he is, I don't think any of it came from Garbage Pail Kids. So I just kind of feel bad for him. All right. Well, guys, I'll see you around, okay? Y'all have a good day. Russ Van out. God, I just wanted, just once, just make us a wax pack.